Hey fellow reefers, Fragbox here, and today we're going to cover the Fluval 13.5 gallons, how to set one up, and why this is the perfect beginner saltwater tank. So, number one reason to get this tank, I would say, is the price. Bang for your buck, this thing can't be beat. You get a hood, a filter, you get the light, you get a pump, and it's all built into one price. Here in Canada it's around $200. I don't know where you're watching this video from, but in terms of value, I would say Fluval Evo, this 13.5 gallon, is the best on the market. Second, convenience. Everything you need is in one box. It's very easy to set up, which we're going to do in a moment. And the size, it's really nice. It's not too big, it's not too small. A lot of people today in their apartments, they don't have the room for a larger tank. So it's really practical. You could throw it on a desk or even in your kitchen on a countertop. And it's also a great tank for beginners. So if you've never kept a saltwater tank, people when they come in the store, we're always trying to get them to get this tank because it's just a great practice tank. And now we'll do the actual unboxing of one of these and we'll show you how to set one up. Pretty standard box. Let's crack her open. Like your first saltwater tank, a lot of people pick these up as small frag tanks or even a quarantine for fish or corals because of the size. They work really well for that. So pretty well packaged. You got your styro on the corners so you don't got to worry about it being broken. And here is the light. Let's open this up. So step one, get all the styrofoam off of the tank, and here in the back you're going to find your filter media and your plumbing parts. I'm going to show you how to hook this up. So step one, take your filter media here. You're going to open up this little bag of carbon, and this one here, we actually recommend swapping these. These are not bad from Fluval. Personally, I prefer to use this. This is a great product right here, the ChemiPure Elite, and then we substitute the sponge that comes with it with some filter floss. So this works really well, something like this. Okay, so I just opened everything that was in the other boxes, and we'll just make sure, we'll go through it, make sure you have everything. This is your return line from your pump. That's going to connect to this puppy right here. Here's your pump, which is included. Power supply for your light. This is your LED light here. Also comes with the hood that's notched out nicely to fit the LED light, and this part here is going to cover your filter. So you should have all those parts in your box, and now we'll stick them all together. Okay, so here's your pump, and here's your return line. So you're just going to slip this piece on nicely onto here, and your return goes into, let me just undo this compartment. And then you're going to have this piece here which gets the water back in the tank. So this just twists off to make it really nice and easy for you. So one of the nice features with this tank, everything's contained, so there's no real chance of leaking or getting water on the floor. I like to just turn this inside out, stick it in. Thread this on nicely. This goes in here clockwise, and that's what's going to shoot the water back into your tank. And these you're going to position based on your rock work and your coral. So that's it for the pump. Your hood, which attaches nicely. This covers the back portion. The hood is nice so you don't have fish or animals jumping on the floor. And your light has controls here on the front. It's just a touch. So you get to choose between white, blue, or blue and white. You're going to want to run this 8 to 9 hours a day if you're doing a reef tank. And then these here on the back are notched out for these wires. So for the pump, you can just snap this right off. And that's just so your wire can fit nice and flush up. So now for substrate, you got a couple options. We go with the Carob Sea, the live sand. Helps to cycle the tank. So you got white, you got black. You could do bare bottom if you want to. It's kind of the new look. Here's a tank running black sand. So I really like the black sand just because the corals really stand out against it and they really pop. And it lets you cheat a little bit. If the sand gets dirty, if you're running a little bit higher nutrients and there's algae on it, you're not going to see it. The white sand, it looks more natural, looks like the ocean, but it's a little bit more work to keep it clean. Just a quick demonstration here on the light. So it's got a small button on the top and you just tap it to change. So that's the blue channel. That's off. There's a white channel. Okay, so this is one 10-pound bag of Carob Sea live sand, and that's all you're going to need for this tank. Just spread it around by hand. And now we add our rock. So this is 9 pounds of dry rock, which will become live rock once we cycle the tank. Old rule is 1 pound per gallon. So if we're following that rule, we're going to do about 14 pounds. I think personally it's a lot. It's an old rule. It's a general rule. This is a 20 gallon here. running with 15 pounds of rock. This is another Fluval 13.5 with 10 pounds of rock. So if you put too much rock in the tank, you're not going to have room for the corals to grow and spread as they get older. So I think on this tank, somewhere between 9 and 10 pounds is perfect. And then the way you design them is up to you. But I always recommend leave it open, so that way the flow will sort of help to keep the rocks clean and keep detritus moving around the tank. You're not going to want to stack it up against the back wall. If you can leave it off like this, it gives you space for cleaning. This one we're running as a peninsula style, so you can kind of walk around and see all the sides. The other one that we have set up here for a year now in the store, we actually painted the back black on it, so it's more of a traditional tank sort of look. But this part is totally up to you. It's personal preference. You can paint it, you can leave it. You see even across here on the top of the glass, we scraped off this small border. That's really easy to do with the razor blade, but it's up to you. Personally, I didn't like it. We took it off. But now it's all up. This is where you're going to have to get creative and you can play with the rocks. This is a very common feature, would be like 2 islands. And in this one, we are running 2 flat pieces on top. It's sort of to create like an arch or a cave. This is a very common way to scape the tank as well. And you're going to want to keep the rock as flat as you can, because when it comes time to placing corals, vertical rocks look really cool, but it's quite difficult to glue or epoxy stuff to the side of a vertical structure. The more flat space you give yourself, sort of like this tank, it's going to be way easier in the long run to glue and manage the corals. So this one's sort of got a mix, you know, starts flat and then goes a little bit taller with some of these more aggressive corals. Sorry for the reflection there. But try and keep it as flat as possible. You're going to be thankful later when it comes time to actually start putting corals in the tank. Okay, you got your sand, you got your rock, you got your filter in the back, you got the lights. The next step would be water. Google or YouTube search cycling and the nitrate cycle to get more information about actually starting and getting live animals in here. But the next step would be salt water. You can buy pre-mixed salt water, you can do RODI water, you can come get some water from us, and then you're going to pour that over the rocks. And then the other pieces of equipment that are not included that you're going to need for this tank would be a heater. This is a 75 watt. 50 to 75 watt will work. Something to start the tank. I really like this product from Red Sea. Something with bacteria in it to get this essentially dead rock into live rock, which is going to be the basis of your filtration. And then a nice little power head is good for water movement. So this Substrate works perfectly. We're running them in both our 20 gallon and our 13.5 gallon here up in the corner. Flow is really important in reef tanks. So that's kind of our quick breakdown, how to set it up. I think we've been talking long enough. It'll take you about 10-15 minutes. Any questions, comments, concerns, you can reach us, Fragbox, Corals, or comment below. Thanks for watching, guys.